So imagine two people, Ronnie and Johannes. Ronnie grew up eating the standard Western and American diet, following the food pyramid, his teachers, his parents' advice. He did that all his life, and in early adulthood, he became busy. He started eating more fast food, more processed foods. He started buying frozen food from the store just to quickly be able to eat it, and he always made sure to, not eat like a lot of fat, a lot of cholesterol. Like his rule was only one egg a day because it has too much cholesterol in it. But over time, Ronnie, started feeling more sick and sick. He had massive brain fog. He had put on a few pounds. He was very much out of shape. And he had a hard time even going to work because his mental health, his concentration was so terrible. And he didn't know what to do until his friend Johannes came and wanted to help Ronnie. Johannes grew up in a very similar way. He was on standard Western diet, eating the food pyramid, lots of carbohydrates. And it wasn't until he entered adulthood, he moved out on his own, when he started thinking, like critically for himself, he started thinking, like, how is it possible that all these people are following these health guidelines? They're getting more sick and sick. Like, what is wrong in our systems? So Johannes started researching, and he came to the conclusion that a diet which is suitable for the human species is red meat and eggs. So he started eating this crazy carnivore diet, and he started feeling better and better. His brain fog went away. He started putting on muscle at the same time while he was losing fat. It was absolutely amazing, and he all of a sudden, eating this diet, he got all of this energy back. So he wanted to help other people, and this is when he went to Ronnie, wanted to help Ronnie and explain to him what he was doing wrong and how he could fix this. Does any of this sound familiar? Because I was at least in the same boat all my life as Ronnie and Johannes. I struggled with brain fog. I had just terrible energy levels. I wasn't really doing that good, and I had all these pains and aches. I wasn't living a good life, alright? Until I discovered the carnivore diet. And the reason why I wasn't doing very well, and the reason why most people have this massive brain fog and poor mental health, is that we are eating, in today's society, we are eating most of our calories from carbohydrates. And when they're from processed sources, that's even worse. There are lots of problems with carbohydrates and using that as your primary fuel source. But still, somehow, most people think that carbohydrates, it's one of the macronutrients. It's so essential that you get enough of carbohydrates into your diet, because otherwise, like, you can't keep on living. Your brain needs carbohydrates, right? And that could not be further from the truth. There is really no benefit of you eating a bunch of carbohydrates, because your body, through gluconeogenesis, can make just enough glucose that your brain and body needs. Carbohydrates, it's not essential for anything. The preferred fuel source for your body are fats. And this is why the carnivore diet, the ketogenic diet, they are so effective. And to make sense of all of this, I would think back to what our ancestors would have done. And the thing here is that our ancestors did not have access to all of these carbohydrates all over the world that we have today. Because our ancestors, they would maybe have a few weeks of the year where they would have access to maybe some berries, some fruit, and yeah, of course, like for them, if you have a long winter coming up and you're just starving almost every day, yeah, of course, it makes sense to eat as much as you can. And I think that is also the reason why it's so easy to binge eat on carbs, and why we have mechanisms in our brains telling us to just keep on eating. Because if you can eat this for a very short period of time of the year, yeah, it makes sense to just eat as much as you can and bulk up. It's the same thing with bears. Like bears also, before they go to sleep over the winter, they will also just eat so many berries that they can, to build up that fat. So everything, like from that standpoint, it makes a lot of sense. But to have and to eat carbs, and mostly carbs, throughout the year, that doesn't make sense at all. And there's a lot of different reasons why carbohydrates affect so negatively on you. Like, first of all, as I said, like overeating. It's so easy to overeat on them. And usually also, when you get this amount of carbohydrates into your body, it will absolutely overwhelm your body on the amount of glucose that comes into your body. Your mitochondria, which is your energy factories in your body, they will start working worse and worse over time when you overwhelm them with all this glucose. And you will also, of course, spike your blood sugar up, and then they will crash down. You will increase your insulin resistance, which all of these things will lead to you being more metabolically sick and your body not functioning properly. And if you feed yourself mostly carbohydrates, you are also missing out on all the good nutrients that comes from fats, and especially from animal sources. Because most likely, if you're eating lots of pasta, you are eating potatoes, rice, whatever, if you're eating all these grains, you are essentially giving your body a bunch of anti-nutrients like fiber, for example, but you're not only giving your body this toxic fuel source in forms of carbohydrates, you're also missing out on all the good stuff that would come from fat, especially from animal products, because there's a lot of good nutrients that you're missing out on if you're not eating fatty red meat or other animal products like eggs, for example. And even something like protein from plants is absolutely garbage. Like someone can say, "Oh, Felix, but soy protein or peanuts, they have so much protein. Like it's so good for me." But the protein is not bioavailable at all, and your body can't like utilize it at all. So that's a massive problem. And at least for me, I know in the past, I used to eat a lot of oats, for example, and on the labels it looks pretty good. Like, oh, it has quite a bit of protein, but then you don't think about all the anti-nutrients, all the toxic chemicals in the plants that come with it. And that is very important, because if you eat like red meat and eggs, for example, that will be so bioavailable for you. Your body can easily utilize it. And if you think about it, you are what you eat. I think this is so true, this saying. And we humans are essentially meat, so it makes sense that it's easier for your body to absorb meat to build on more meat. And the same thing with cholesterol. So it makes sense that your body produces cholesterol, your brain is made of cholesterol, all your cells are made of cholesterol, so it makes sense that you should eat cholesterol to really build up your body as well. And now I'm not even talking about the processed foods, because if someone is eating a bunch of processed foods, that is even worse, because I see the argument for some people having fiber in your diet, because fiber is basically, it's like sawdust. Like, you're just filling up your food with fiber, which is a anti-nutrient, which makes it harder for your body to absorb it. So if you're eating a bunch of garbage, it makes sense to eat fiber as well. So if you're feeding your body poison, it makes sense to eat fiber. But if you're only feeding your body the good nutrients like animal products, red meat, eggs, then fiber is just detrimental for you, because you want to be able to absorb the nutrients. And with processed foods, you don't have any fiber, you essentially only have garbage, and you have a lot of toxins and chemicals that have been made in the last decades or so in your processed food. So that will be, of course, the worst. Like whole foods and even a vegan diet will win the standard American diet, where you're eating 70% processed foods. But none of them is really what your body is designed to eat. So what then could you do? What then should you eat? If you're eating right now, like most of your calories coming from carbs, what then should you eat? Well, you should replace it with fat from animal products. So no seed oils or that kind of bullshit, because that is also very processed foods, and it has a lot of side effects. You should really look into it if you're now cooking with margarine or plant sources. You should eat the animal products, especially animal fat. That is so good for you. It's your body's preferred fuel source. Your body runs very well on fat. Your energy levels will be a lot more stable. They will be higher. Your body can utilize all the nutrients, all the energy that you eat, and all your metabolic sickness will over time go away, and you will actually heal yourself by eating this very carnivore or carnivore based diet. So I hope my message in this video was clear. Carbohydrates are not essential, and if you want to live your best life, you want to feel good, you want to thrive, you should eat a diet that your body is designed to absorb and thrive on. So that will be a carnivore diet. And if you think that this message is important, I would like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. If you want to keep learning, watch this video next, but otherwise, eat meat, take care, and have a wonderful rest of your day.